Rain hammered Riverside Park like God's own judgment. The storm had come fast, turning manicured paths into rivers of mud and debris. 10-year-old Emma Crawford sat frozen in her wheelchair, front wheels buried deep in the muck where the path had collapsed, her white blonde hair plastered to her face. Her hands trembled on the armrests. She'd only wanted to see the ducks one last time before the rain got worse. Now she was stuck, sinking, and utterly alone. She called out, voice cracking with fear. A jogger in expensive gear glanced her way, then picked up speed, earbuds firmly in place. A businessman walked past, phone pressed to his ear, eyes sliding right over her like she was part of the scenery. A young couple actually stopped, looked at her wheelchair trapped in the mud, then at their designer shoes. The man shook his head, and they turned away. Emma's chest tightened. She pushed against the wheels with everything she had. They didn't budge. The mud held her like concrete, and with each failed attempt, she sank a little deeper. Across the park, 15-year-old Jamal Washington was trying to make it home before the storm got worse. His Riverside Market uniform clung to his skin, still damp from mopping the floors after closing. His sneakers, held together with duct tape, squished with every step. He'd worked a double shift because his mama's medication cost more this month and the rent was due tomorrow. All he wanted was to collapse on their secondhand couch and close his eyes for 5 minutes. Then he heard it. A small voice, desperate and breaking. "Help, please, somebody help me." Jamal stopped. Through the sheets of rain, he saw her. A little white girl in a wheelchair, trapped in the mud near the pond, surrounded by people who wouldn't meet her eyes. He looked down at his shoes, the only pair he owned that weren't completely falling apart. He thought about his mama, waiting at home, counting on him. He thought about the 30-minute walk still ahead and how much colder he'd get if he stepped into that mud. Then he looked at the girl's face again and saw the terror there. The calculation took half a second. Then he was running. His feet hit the mud with a wet slap. The cold shot up through his legs like electricity. He didn't slow down. By the time he reached her, his uniform pants were soaked to the thigh, his shoes completely ruined. The girl looked up at him with wide, disbelieving eyes, like she'd forgotten people could actually stop. "Hey," he said, breathing hard. I got you now." He grabbed the wheelchair frame and pulled. Nothing. The mud had created a vacuum seal around the wheels. He planted his feet and tried again, muscles burning. The chair shifted an inch, then sank back. Jamal circled around, assessing the situation like he'd seen his uncle do with stuck cars. He knelt in the freezing mud, not caring anymore, and started digging with his bare hands around the front wheels. The girl watched him, silent tears mixing with rain on her face. "What's your name?" he asked, trying to keep her calm while he worked. "Emma," she whispered. "I'm Jamal. Nice to meet you, Emma. I'm gonna get you out of here, okay? Promise." She nodded, something like hope flickering in her expression. Around them, the crowd had grown. People stood under umbrellas and awnings, phones out, recording. Not one of them stepped forward to help. Jamal dug until his fingers went numb. Then he stood, grabbed the wheelchair handles, and pulled with everything he had. The chair lurched forward 6 inches. He pulled again, another few inches. His back screamed. His arms felt like they might tear from his shoulders, but the wheels were coming free. One more pull. The front wheels broke the suction with a wet pop, and suddenly the chair was moving. Jamal kept pulling, dragging the wheelchair and Emma backward across the mud, one agonizing step at a time. His foot slipped and he nearly went down, but he caught himself, tightened his grip, and kept going. When they finally reached solid pavement, Jamal's legs gave out. He collapsed to his knees, chest heaving. Emma was crying openly now. Not from fear, but from relief. "Thank you," she sobbed. "Thank you, Thank you." Jamal looked up at her through the rain and managed a tired smile. "You're okay now. That's all that matters." He started to stand, to check if she needed anything else, when a voice cut through the storm like a whip crack. "Get away from my daughter. Right now." A man in a $1,000 suit came striding across the park, rage twisting his features. Behind him, a woman in a pristine white coat hurried to keep up. The man was maybe 45, with silver hair and the kind of sharp jaw that came from generations of good breeding and better lawyers. This was Richard Crawford, tech billionaire, venture capitalist, owner of half the real estate in downtown. And right now, his eyes were locked on Jamal with pure fury. The crowd, which had been dispersing, stopped to watch this new drama unfold. Phones rose again. This was going to be good. Richard reached them in seconds. He grabbed Jamal by the shoulder and shoved him back hard. Jamal stumbled, barely keeping his feet. "What did you do to her?" Richard demanded. "Did you touch her? Did you hurt her?" "Daddy, no," Emma started. But Richard wasn't listening. His eyes raked over Jamal, taking in the mud-soaked clothes, the worn shoes, the dark skin. He saw exactly what he expected to see. Some kid from the east side, probably trying to rob his daughter or worse. The woman in the white coat, Emma's nanny, rushed to the wheelchair. "Oh my God, Emma, are you hurt? Did he hurt you?" Jamal raised his hands, heart pounding. "Sir, I was helping her. She was stuck. I don't want to hear it." Richard pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the police. You're not going anywhere." "Daddy, stop!" Emma's voice rose, desperate. "He saved me. Nobody else would help, and he saved me." Richard paused, phone halfway to his ear. He looked at his daughter, really looked at her for the first time. Her face was streaked with mud and tears. Her hands were shaking, but her eyes were clear and fierce. "He didn't hurt me," Emma said, each word deliberate. "He helped me." Everyone else walked away. Everyone. But he ran through the mud and pulled me out. He ruined his shoes for me. He saved me. The anger drained from Richard's face, replaced by something worse. Confusion, shame, dawning horror. He looked at Jamal, seeing him differently now. The exhaustion written into every line of the kid's body. The raw, bleeding fingers from digging in the mud. The way he was shivering in his soaked uniform, but still standing there, patient, waiting. Richard's phone slipped in his grip. He lowered it slowly. The crowd watched in breathless silence. The rain continued to fall, softer now, like the sky was giving them space to breathe. Richard Crawford, a man who'd built empires and crushed competitors, couldn't find words. He started. His voice came out rough. "I thought." "You thought wrong," Jamal said quietly. No anger in his voice. Just bone-deep weariness. "But that's okay. Most people do." He looked at Emma, and his expression softened. "You take care of yourself, Emma. Maybe stay away from the mud for a while." She laughed through her tears. "Wait, don't go." But Jamal was already walking away, his destroyed shoes leaving muddy prints on the pavement. Richard watched him go, something cracking open inside his chest. This kid, this teenager who had nothing, had given everything to save a stranger, while Richard, with all his money and power, hadn't even been there. Emma grabbed her father's hand. "We have to help him, Daddy. We have to." Richard nodded slowly. He looked at his nanny, whose face had gone pale with guilt. "Take Emma home. Get her warm and dry. I'll be there soon." "Where are you going?" Emma asked. "To make this right." Richard took off at a jog, following the muddy footprints. He caught up with Jamal 3 blocks away. The kid was walking with his head down, arms wrapped around himself against the cold. When Richard called his name, Jamal turned, surprise flickering across his face. "Mr. Crawford." "Please," Richard said, slightly out of breath. A man his age didn't run. Let me give you a ride home. It's the least I can do. I'm fine. You're freezing, and your shoes are destroyed because of my daughter. Please let me do this." Jamal hesitated. The walk home suddenly felt impossibly long. His feet hurt. His whole body hurt. And something in Richard Crawford's eyes looked genuine, desperate even. "Okay," Jamal said finally. "Thank you." They walked to where Richard's driver waited with a black Mercedes. The driver's eyes widened at Jamal's mud-covered state, but Richard waved away his concern. "Just drive." "Where are we going?" the driver asked. Jamal gave an address on the east side. The driver's eyebrows rose, but he said nothing. They pulled into traffic. The heated seats felt like heaven. Jamal tried not to get mud on the leather interior and failed completely. Richard sat beside him, studying the teenager's profile. "How old are you?" Richard asked. 15, sir. And you work at Riverside Market?" "Yes, sir." "After school and weekends, sometimes doubles if they need me." Richard was quiet for a moment. Why? Why work so much at your age? "His mama's sick," Jamal said simply. "Heart condition. Medicine costs money. So does rent. Food, everything costs money." "Do you have a father at home?" "He died when I was 8. It's a construction accident. So it's just you and your mother." "Yes, sir." More silence. The city slid past the windows, transitioning from the manicured west side to the rougher east side. Crumbling sidewalks, boarded-up windows, liquor stores, and check-cashing places. This was Jamal's world. Richard had driven through neighborhoods like this exactly never. The Mercedes pulled up in front of a sagging apartment building with rust stains on the walls. "This is me," Jamal said. "Thank you for the ride. Wait." Richard reached into his jacket and pulled out his wallet. He extracted several bills, hundreds by the look of them. "For your shoes and your time." Jamal looked at the money like it might bite him. "I didn't help your daughter for money." "I know, but no, sir." Jamal's voice was firm. "I did what anyone should do. That's all." He opened the car door. Richard felt panic rising in his throat. This couldn't be it. This couldn't be how it ended, with him sitting in his Mercedes while this extraordinary kid walked away into a falling-apart building. "At least let me pay for new shoes," Richard tried. "I can get shoes, Mr. Crawford. What I can't buy is the feeling of knowing I helped somebody who needed it. That's worth more than anything in your wallet." And he was gone, disappearing into the building. Richard sat in the car, staring at the apartment entrance long after Jamal vanished. The driver cleared his throat. "Sir, take me home." But Richard didn't move. His mind was spinning. This kid, this 15-year-old with nothing, had more integrity in his little finger than Richard had cultivated in his entire life, had given without expecting return, helped without calculating benefit, had saved Emma when Richard wasn't there because Richard was never there, always working, always building, always acquiring more wealth he didn't need while his daughter grew up lonely. The revelation hit him like a physical blow. He'd been a terrible father. Present in body sometimes, but never in spirit. While this kid, who had every reason to be bitter, was out being a hero. "Sir," the driver's voice broke through Richard's thoughts. "Take me home." The rain had stopped. Weak sunlight turned wet streets to rivers of gold. At home, Emma waited, blankets wrapped around her, hot chocolate in hand. "Did you find him?" she asked. "I found him, and he wouldn't take money." Emma smiled. "That's because he's good, Daddy. Better than most." Richard sat beside her. "I need your help. I want to change his life like he changed yours." Emma's eyes widened. "How we find his school, get his mother proper care, and offer him something he can't refuse. Not charity, opportunity." The next day, Richard had the details. Jamal Washington, Lincoln High sophomore, honor roll. Works 30 hours a week, mother chronically ill, underinsured, father deceased. Monday, Richard waited at Lincoln High. Jamal froze. "Mr. Crawford." 5 minutes, Richard said. In the Mercedes, Richard handed him a folder. Full college scholarship, medical care for his mother, living expenses covered. Jamal trembled. Why? Richard smiled. Because you saved my daughter, and she saved me. That's who you are. That's who you'll become. Richard's voice broke slightly. I haven't been a good father, Jamal. I've been absent, focused on work, on building wealth I don't need. Emma's been lonely, suffering, and I didn't see it because I wasn't looking. But you saw her, helped her without hesitation. You reminded me what actually matters. Family, connection, being there for the people who need you. So yes, I'm doing this because you saved Emma, but I'm also doing it because you saved me from becoming the kind of man who has everything and means nothing. Jamal wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. This is too much. It's exactly right. Richard put a hand on Jamal's shoulder. Please, let me do this. Let my family help yours. Jamal looked down at the scholarship papers. A full ride to any school. The chance to study engineering like he'd always dreamed. To build things, fix things, make the world better. The chance to give his mama a life without fear, without pain. The chance to become someone who could help others the way Richard was helping him now. "'Kay?" Jamal whispered. "Okay." Richard smiled, real and genuine. "Thank you." "For what?" "For letting me be part of your story." 3 months later, Jamal's mother sat in a cardiologist's office, getting the news that the treatment was working. Her heart was stabilizing. The medication was effective. She'd have years, not months. She cried in the doctor's office, overwhelmed. Jamal held her hand and felt something loosen in his chest. The constant fear that had lived there since his father died. It was finally easing. That weekend, Richard invited them to his house for dinner. The estate was massive, almost obscene in its size. Jamal's mama looked around with wide eyes. "Baby," she whispered, "these people live like this. They're good people, Mama. Rich, but good." Emma met them at the door, wheelchair decorated with stickers and ribbons. "Jamal," she squealed. "You came. Told you I would." She wheeled herself forward and hugged him hard. He'd visited twice since the park, building a friendship that surprised everyone with its ease. Emma and Jamal just fit, her brightness balancing his quiet steadiness. Inside, the dining room table could have seated 20. It felt absurdly formal. But Richard and his wife, Catherine, were warm and welcoming. They ate together, two families from different worlds connected by one act of kindness. Over dessert, Richard cleared his throat. "I have an announcement." He glanced at Jamal. "I've been thinking about what happened in the park, how people walked past Emma. That's happening everywhere. I don't want to live in that world anymore. I'm starting the Emma and Jamal Foundation to support young people who show extraordinary character despite hardship. Scholarships, medical support, mentorship, everything they need to succeed." Jamal stared. "You're naming it after me?" "After both of you," Richard said. "Emma, because her situation opened my eyes. You, Jamal, because your response showed real heroism. It's about showing up, seeing people, choosing kindness even when it costs you." Jamal's mother cried, taking Richard's hand. "Thank you. You gave me my son's future." "Your son did that," Richard replied. "We just make sure the world doesn't waste his potential." Emma raised her glass. "To Jamal, my hero." Everyone followed. Jamal, once alone, now had a family, a future, a purpose. 4 years later, Jamal graduated summa cum laude from MIT. His mother, healthy and beaming, sat front row. Richard, Catherine, and Emma cheered. After the ceremony, Richard handed him an envelope, a job offer as senior engineer at Crawford Industries, designing next-generation wheelchairs. "You changed our lives. Now I want you to change the world," Richard said. Jamal looked at his family, at the future ahead. 4 years ago, he had nothing. Now he had everything, not from luck, but from choosing to help. "Thank you," he said, voice thick, "for seeing me." They returned to Riverside Park, standing at the spot it all began. Jamal saw a boy fall. Without hesitation, he ran over, helped him up, offered his handkerchief. "No problem. That's what we do," he said, walking back. Emma smiled. "The cycle doesn't end." Richard nodded. "It keeps going. One act of kindness creating another. Forever." As the sun set, Jamal understood. He ran into the mud, thinking he was saving a girl, but he was saving everyone. Because kindness transforms everyone it touches. Until there's only love, only family, only the choice to stop, see, and help.